Indeed, John Jacob Curia, Victor Alo, and Jane Wangoi back there in Broadcasting House. And of course, we are taking things up here at the Bomas of Kenya, where we are keeping tabs of what is happening here as the verification exercise of Forms 34A and 34B continues. So far, I gave you the numbers. 141 constituencies have had their results verified by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. So far, we still have 291 to go, and the whole plan is to ensure that the process is expedited to have this process concluded either before the end of the day today or by tomorrow morning. And that is what IEBC officials are doing together with the party agents and other involved stakeholders. That is what they are doing inside the National Tallying Center. We have been giving you pictures of that place. It's a beehive of activity. About 7 or 9 tables there where the verification exercise is taking place, and that's why this process has gotten us to where we are, because every form must be certified, every form must be verified, and all the parties must agree that what is being announced is actually what is captured in the forms and what is actually happened on the ground. So far, the number of verified votes stands at 7,043,561 out of the possible 14.5 million votes out there. So we're still around 50% of the verified votes, and so the onus is on IEBC to ensure that the other 50%, is concluded on time, and of course the announcement is made. Well, we continue to engage various stakeholders, from analysts to politicians, and of course to the business communities, as well as various stakeholders, to get to hear their views on this process. And now on this set, I am joined by Vimal Shah. He's the chairman of Mkenya Daima, which is a platform that brings together various stakeholders, from religious, political, security, as well as the business community, trying to preach peace, encouraging Kenyans, to put Kenya first. And one of their clarion call is Nitatenda Wema. Thank you, Vimal, for joining us here. And next to Vimal, we have Florah Mutahi. She's a member of the steering committee of Mkenya Daima. And when she's not part of Mkenya Daima, she is the chairperson of Kenya Private Sector Alliance. And Vimal Shah is also a renowned industrialist in this country, a business person, and a past chairperson of the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, as well as the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. And so when they speak, you ought to listen and respect. Vimal, asante sana. Florah, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Before this election, you are on a media campaign, you are on a public bliss, going around the country, urging Kenyans that this is just a process that we always go into every 5 years. And after that, we go back to work peacefully as Kenyans and as one community. Do you think those principles have been upheld so far?
I think I would say very clearly, Kenyans have shown true leadership this time. Against all the predictions by a lot of foreigners saying that we'll have problems in Kenya, Kenyans have been peaceful, they've been standing in line, they've cast their vote. And I think that was the biggest shout out by Kenyans, to say, I went and cast my vote. And that was the biggest peaceful thing that happened. Apart from that, I think we have patiently waited for the results till now. And I think we're still patient, and we've not seen any violence or anything of that sort. But I think the important thing is that the process that's going on right now is crucial. I know it's very painful for all of us sitting at home, watching our TVs and saying, what's happening at Bomas? We've been here for the last 2-3 days, and we've observed the process. Everything is being checked. They're checking every form, 34A, 34B, and then 34A with the one that was downloaded and the one that is physical, actual copies, are being checked by all the agents, by all the parties, and by IBC. So I think this is what their job is. So the question then is, je wajibu wetu, in terms of our responsibility as people sitting out there, is probably right now to stay calm. It's not for us to decide who's going to win. It's for them to decide, and the decision already made is only for them to count and bring it out. So I guess that's what I would say, that our calls on Kenyans to be calm, to be peaceful. I think we've proven to the world that Kenyans are peaceful people, and we really are, and we're proud of that.
What about you, Florah?
Just to add to what he's saying, I do believe there's been a lot of peace and calm, during the voting period, and of course immediately now post-election. Anxiety is there, which is definitely understood. I think the other thing to note is that the economy did not come to, we don't have real evidence of the economy really coming to a halt. Just before the election, we did a poll for CEOs, and for the first time, I think the percentage was 62% of CEOs had a lot of confidence that we are on a positive trajectory. 2017, it was 41, and previously it was below that. So I think it speaks to Kenya's democratic maturity, which is deepening. And we would just like to request for everybody to just let the process happen. So peace is there. I think you were asking me earlier, people working. I was in industrial area straight after Wednesday. I was there on Monday, I was there on Wednesday, Thursday through to Friday. Yes, shops are open, industries are running. And for the few that are playing a lot of golf or getting anxious, maybe they need to get back to work, because that is actually a coping mechanism for anxiety. Get your finger off the prize, put off all these phones, and and really just focus on what you do, because we have a system and a process that has its laws and regulations already cast out. It's not our work. We've done our civic duty of voting, and that is really what was requested of us. So let them do their work, and we've been in that hall severally, and we can see it's pretty open. Everybody's sitting out and discussing what they need to discuss.
I know the two of you, I mean, you are in constant touch with the people on the ground, be it the citizenry, the business community, the diplomatic corps, and so much. And what are they saying about this whole process, Vimal?
I think people are very, very proud. People are very, very happy that it's gone peaceful. I think the fear factor that was there before the elections was about violence, was about going to a 2007 situation. I think that's been allayed very clearly, number one. Number two, the fears were about what if the transmission of the results are faltered, or if we have a blackout on power, or we have a blackout on internet and something is blanked off and something is being done there. I think that was allayed also. That's why the process is good. This process that's going on right now, I think a lot of people don't really know. I know the press has been putting out that this is what's happening, but I think the key issue yesterday we were trying to check out is what's really going on. I think it's a thorough audit and a thorough check. I know it's time-taking, it's painful for everyone, but because I voted for somebody and I want him to win, and we had different parties, but the results are quite close, and I think that's important to note, that either party may win, either party may lose, and I think that's where the problem is, and that's why the anxiety is rising up to say, what if something is played around with? I think the agents are doing their job. There's people from, I've seen the tables, there are 12 tables now, and the tables have got people around it with agents from all four parties, right? Again, the IEBC are there, the observers are there, everybody's checking on every single thing. If somebody has a query, it's being checked out, find out. We know that a few politicians on the side, or few people, were supporting their parties and trying to be mobilizing them, but that was not there because they didn't know the subject. I think it was all about speculation. The fact is the process is thorough. We've seen this at the county level. I think we saw that at the constituency level. First of all, what happened at the base, which means at the polling station. In my polling stream, after the thing, they counted it, and that was relayed from a Form 34A out online. Those were available to everyone. It's on blockchain, so therefore nobody can tamper with it. But those have now been uploaded. People have run their own tallying, and I think the media stations also did their own tallying, and everybody's sequence was different. Somebody was starting from this end, somebody from this end, and therefore you had differences. But in the end, when you do a full tally, they will all come to the right thing. However, what happened later on was to get the 34 Bs from the county polling stations and the constituencies. And there we're looking for discrepancies. So I think it's just to say, let's stay calm, let's stay peaceful. Really, we will prove to the whole world that we in Kenya are peaceful and really are mature. The democracy has gone far. Our democracy, where you could have people coming up and standing up. 16,000 candidates, can you imagine, for 1882 positions. Now that's a lot. Now you have 14,000 people saying, I lost, or I didn't make it, right? And now that's where the anxiety comes from. But you know, in the end, there'll be one county governor, there'll be one senator from each county, there'll be one president for the country, there'll be one party leader, there'll be one MCA, and therefore we've got to accept that. The beauty this time, and I think you've seen it even early morning today, you've seen the county governors, the senators, whoever's lost is saying, yeah, okay, we've checked, we've double checked, we've recounted, and now we know we're okay with it. I mean, this morning you saw the Nairobi governor position going to one candidate, and the other one saying, I concede defeat. Why? Because they took a few more days, extra days, but they thoroughly checked it. I think that's why we're saying this process, whatever is happening, is important. Let it continue. It has time. Legally, it has got time till Tuesday. Although I know you said it could be done today or tomorrow, and then announcements could be done. But I think our wajib wetu at home, wajib wetu outside there, is to say, let's wait for the results. It's not our job to count. I know a lot of people on social media counting and sending out, oh, this is our count, your count. Those are all speculations.
Yes.
Whatever is finally announced after checking, after kaguaing by the IEBC is going to be final. And if the result is final, it is final, right? Now, if the other party does not accept it, then the recourse is to take out all the flaws and go to court. And therefore, we don't have to go to the court of, you know, public street fighting or whatever. And therefore, we're all Kenyans. In the end, all the people standing are Kenyans. All the people who are counting are Kenyans. Everybody's a Kenyan. And therefore, let's have that trust and that maturity that we've kept till now, and let's not destroy it. That's what my call is.
And I like the fact that, you know, you have said it very well. And one of the most defining thing about this election is that IEBC came out and told the people, look here, we have opened our servers. If you want to do your own tallying, just go ahead and do your own tallying. I mean, the numbers are going to inform you whether you are winning or whether you're losing. And so, by doing so, they are managing people's expectations. And that is one thing that I think as a country we need to fly with. And to, I've seen, you know, some observers are saying that this is the one of a kind in Africa. They have never seen something like this. Florah, when people are talking to you as a business leader, you know, as a woman leader in this country, what are you telling them about this election?
I think I'm telling them exactly what we are discussing right here. Politics is for the politician. But we also say in business, politics is too important to leave to the politician. So we trust the system. We have electoral laws. We have a body that is whatever. We have recourse in case you're not happy. You know, go to your court. So trust the process and let us do what we are supposed to be doing. I mean, we are business people, we're entrepreneurs. Let's do the work, because consumption has not gone down. Demand has not gone down. So today, if we sort of say we're going to close our offices and we're not going to supply the stores, that creates a new panic. That will say, all of a sudden I can't get my milk because of elections. No, we need life to go on. Let us do what we are supposed to do, and leave the politicians to do what they're supposed to do. However, within the confines of the law, and again, as transparent as possible. And that is why you found, as Mkenya Daima, taking an interest in this space. Really, if we could explain to you what we do, we've actually met a lot of all these bodies. We've raised all the questions. When we hear issues, we bring it up to them, and they give us answers. Because we're not coming in partisan, we're really non-partisan, but what we're trying to do is to make the system as transparent. So when you're getting accolades that this is second to none in Kenya, it's something we need to be proud about, but it is also because they have allowed us to be as open as to a question on anything. Literally, we are calling and asking any question and relaying it back to the public, and that is why you're seeing us here, where we are telling people we are okay. Within the confines of the law, we've done what is supposed to be done. Anything beyond that, there's a recourse mechanism. We've met the judiciary, and they are ready. They're ready to turn around, you know, whatever petitions are within 14 days. So again, have confidence in systems that we have put in place, because again, as you're maturing democratically, let's not give one and take it away. We've reached here. All we should do is be building on it. And that would also mean, let us go back to work. If you look at foreign countries, you know, I was mentioning to you about France, you know, everybody democratic countries do elect their leaders. A lot of them just do it and go back to work same day. And I believe in Kenya we should be aiming there, and we are doing better. There was previously, there was a lot of movement. Somebody would leave the one location, I don't feel safe in this location. This year, I think we've not had too much of that. And now the next thing we are calling on is perhaps we might not even need a public holiday to vote. Just vote in the morning, go back to work, because we have a system and it is secure. We have the security. We have the security people out there. So there's nothing much to worry about. Our call to people is let us do the work. Let us continue to serve Kenyans in whichever area. Assume you are not here today.
Yep.
What would they be doing? This is the panic that we are saying. Let us not create that. Let us do our duty.
Very well. And I like the fact that you are saying as Mkenya Daima, I mean, you are in consultation, you're in contact with the politicians, with thought leaders, with policy makers, even within the international community. And so when you engage with, the politicians, and I know you had a platform with them before whereby they vowed to keep peace, to unite the country. When now they look at the situation on the ground, what are they saying? Are they still committed to that cause?
Yes, they are. It's true you're saying we actually got all of them to sign peace pledges, the principals and the parties to sign that, I shall accept and I will remain within the confines of the law. Whether you accept the results or not, the most important thing is to do the process. And I haven't had anything contrary. I have had a few saying, yes, I'm going to take up the legal process, which is their right. It's their democratic right to do that, and we're encouraging that. So as far as I'm concerned, I do believe politicians have stood up to the cause, like you said. We're seeing a lot of them saying, I concede. I did, watch the process. I did question. I got my answers, and I concede. So I do believe as well politicians are getting to a stage where they themselves are also trusting this electoral process. And it's important. It's important for everybody to trust what is there. What is not perfect, we continue to correct as we go along.
And I also, like the fact that, when you look at us as a country, we are one of the leading countries in Africa when it comes to mobile telephony connectivity, at a rate of more than 110. Our internet connectivity now is almost 80%. And so even when you look at our freedom of expression, it's all over for people to see there in the social media, on televisions, everywhere, even in the mainstream media. And that's why we are here. But the question that is now coming through is that there is so much that is being said, even on social media. And Kenyans embarked on also tallying their own numbers. And at some point we were asking ourselves, is your fifth thing? Okay? And I want to hear this from Vimal. So how then now as a community, as a society, do we filter that information and ensure that we are not swayed by misinformation, disinformation, and even deepfakes?
I think that's a very important question. And I think what we've seen seriously this time is that there is very clearly media, and there is responsible media, and then there is social media, right? And I say this openly, I think the mainstream media have been very, very responsible in reporting and doing all that stuff. Very transparent. In fact, I see every station here at Bomas right now. We're at Bomas right now. Everyone's here. They're able to see everything. They're able to film everything, copy everything. It's all available. So access has not been denied, number one. Number two, I think I would request all Kenyans out there, when we get anything on social media, when we see anything, there could be an image, there could be a statement, there could be whatever, that message, before sharing it or forwarding it, before sending it out, let's verify it. What the people in Bomas are doing right now is verifying everything for the fact. Are we verifying? Are we forwarding first and then reading it later? Or are we saying speculation because we are anxious? I think this is a call that I want to make, is before we do that, right? And we've seen a number of statements made in the public where some was being sent as a statement made by a archbishop wrongly, and it's wrong. I think that's been done. It's been doctored. Again, social media is being doctored. However, the power is with the people. The power is with you. Everyone with a device and a Twitter account can now become a journalist, just like O'Brien, right? And they can actually start printing whatever they want. That's the freedom we have. So it's amazing. I think Kenya's done that. However, I would rather say wajibu wangu at home is to see that, kagua, and see, is this true or not? Does it fit or not? And if I send it to somebody, is it beneficial to them, or is it just propaganda?
It seems like now IBC has rolled up their sleeves and they are saying, now we need to get this thing going, right? From the numbers now they are giving people.
I think it's going faster now. The process is well set. I think all the agents are also well set, so it's happening. And I think they've got 12 tables now on the floor. It will go pretty fast. However, I think for us as people, as public out there, let's be patient. We may even say Monday or Tuesday or even today, but let's wait till Tuesday and say fine. Till then, at least we have the legal time. At the same time, I think all the agencies, I think you've seen the conceding. People are conceding and saying, yes, we accept it, now we accept the results. It's a good process. It's a very good process. I think, let's wait for the results.
Florah, are you happy with now the rate at which IEBC is now pushing these numbers? I'm in the company of Mkenya Daima team, that is the chairperson Vimal Shah, as well as a member of the steering committee, Florah Mutahi, who is also the chair of the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. We've been having conversation as to how do we move on as a country. What kind of a clarion call do we need to have after this process to ensure that we have an economy to build, we have hospitals to construct, we have schools to take care of, we have the elderly to take care of. I mean, as a country, we still have so much work that remains undone. And so how do we get back to work? So Vimal, thank you very much indeed for your time, and Florah Mutahi as well. And so now the question that is coming through, because it is clear, it is apparent that this process is almost now coming to an end. What should we look forward for now after this process is over?
I think that's a very good question to ask and to answer also. The process will be over by, say, Tuesday. You'll have a leader announced as a president, but the other leaders have already been announced. So the question is, what's Wajibu wangu for each leader? I think this is important, that they will need to look at it saying, fine, now the leadership, whoever's taken office, obviously those who haven't taken office, they're also leaders, but they shouldn't be dejected. However, turbulent times in terms of the economy, in terms of the pandemic coming out, having an economy that we've got to really push up, I think we will need to have humble leaders, people who listen to new ideas, because I think Kenyans have got fantastic new ideas which they want to bring up. We've deepened our democracy, which is fantastic, and therefore everybody has a voice. But the leadership must be able to have far more responsibility to unite the country in terms of saying, now if you are the leader of your county, you're the leader of the country, and you're a president, the leadership that counts now is unite the country, become one, and you're not the leader of that party or that color in that county, or as in the ward as an MCA or as an MP. And I think that's going to be crucial, number one. Number two, I think they must teach and learn with Kenyans, because Kenyans have got very good ideas, very innovative stuff. That's important. Exemplify excellence. I think the excellence that is required now in every place. You know, Kenya is in a fantastic position as far as the global economy is concerned. As far as Africa is concerned, we have a good positioning. What we haven't done is to leverage all that now going forward. There's been fantastic work done on infrastructure, let's face it, and let's give the accolades there. All the infrastructure we've done is fantastic, it's superb. But now, can we utilize that to become more competitive? Can we become far more available to the whole of East Africa? We've got ACFTA, we've got the whole region. So we've got a lot going for us. And I think ultimately, let's go out and say, become the example. Proudly, Kenyans have become an example of peace, of a peaceful nation who can conduct elections. I can tell you one thing, as Mkenya Daima, we met up with the different leaders of observer groups and all the different presidents of Africa, including the one from Nigeria. And they actually said, we'd love to have your systems in our countries. And I think if we could have these sort of systems in our countries, we'd be far more transparent and far more open. So I think that's something to be proud of. Let's not lose this. So what my call would be to all leaders, and I think every Kenyan is a leader. There's a leader inside them. Let's arouse them. But as far as those who have won in elections and who are going to be making decisions for the country, unify the country, make us one together, and really be magnanimous in your win, or even if you didn't win, better luck next time. But overall, we haven't lost. Those who are saying 14,000 people have lost, they have learned. They have learned what to do better next time.
I also want to hear from Florah, you know, apart from being a member of the steering committee of Mkenya Daima, you're also the chairperson of Kenya Private Sector Alliance. What would you expect to see once the new administration comes on board in terms of laying the platform of continuing with the legacy of building this economy?
I believe the economic pillar is what you're asking about. And if we look at our GDP, especially post the pandemic, we had the fastest growth ever in 11 years at 7.5%. World Bank and I think the central bank have also said that we are destined to do 6.5 this year. So we've had this small you know, event in our economy. I think the most important thing is, can we hit the ground running? Exactly like Vimal has said, there's a lot of foundation that has been laid. So can we continue to you know, to push the economic agenda of this country? That would mean, you know, yes, I understand roping in everybody, but really giving us a conducive environment in which to do business. Conducive environment meaning, let's continue to improve on our competitiveness, because it can be quite difficult to do business in Kenya. How do we bring that down? How do we access more markets? You know, you've seen the Africa Continental Free Trade. How do we get deepen our exports into those countries? The East African community has just largened. Can we even make it larger? Can we utilize it? There are a lot of barriers, you know, be they policy, be they strategic, or be they operational, that need to be broken down. So we continue to request a dialogue like we've had lately between the private sector and the political whatever, to allow us to deal with the policy environment, to be able to deal with the operational environment, because we know where the shoe hurts. They are the ones who sort of lay the legislation. So can we sit down with the members of parliament? So all arms of government, can we sit down and do like we normally do? We have, I think it's quarterly check-ins where we roundtables with the presidency and with governors down at the county level. And, you know, devolution has also opened up a huge opportunity for business. So we'd also request, you know, all the governors who have come in to allow us to continue to improve doing business in the counties. There are a lot of challenges that, you know, double taxation from county level up to national level. Let us sit down and find a way, because each and every governor or each and every county wants to do the best for themselves. You know, let us take a competitive advantage for our county and improve it, maybe amplify it within the region. And so the next county doesn't have to do the same. The next county can pick on something else. This is what will actually make our economy stronger and be able to reach the GDPs that we are actually getting to. There's no reason why we cannot be aiming for a 10% GDP growth.
And the fact of the matter is, I mean, when you look at the numbers, you know, coming through from IBC, I mean, it's now clearly a two-horse race, you know, between Azimio leader Raila Odinga and Kenya Kwanza leader William Ruto. And the fact of the matter is, these are people that you have worked with in the past. I mean, yes. William Ruto, as a deputy president, I know there was a time he used to work together with KEPSA. Raila Odinga, the same thing. So this is not going to be a new conversation. You know, it's going to be a conversation that you are picking up. And so if I was to get this from Vimal, I mean, what areas of the economy would you expect the new administration to address first of all?
I think, frankly, you're so right. We worked with all these people before. They've all been in government. They all know the systems. I think the key issue is that they're all listening. I think that's important. One. Number two, they've got their own manifestos that they've crafted. In fact, as KEPSA did give an economic manifesto formats and exactly what the people want, that was also adopted. I think a lot more, apart from that, a lot more was adopted. And I think the manifestos are very clear from both parties. There is no ideological difference. I think the important thing for Kenyans to know, there's no ideological difference that one is a capitalist or one is a communist and we're going to be changing the whole country around. But I think the important issue is that they have their manifestos, what we want, the promises made, and then the promises fulfilled and the number of days it's happened. That's where the leadership comes from. And I think the important issue now is to say, I mean, look at our athletes. Our lady who won the gold medal recently in the Commonwealth Games, as soon as she finished, she went out and helped the second or the third. It was a steeplechase, I think. She helped the lady who was having a foot problem or whatever, and that was number 2 and number 3. And that's probably what we expect from all our leaders, to say, whoever wins, look at the next one. Whoever didn't win, really let's make them brothers and sisters or whatever, and really sort that out so that we don't have disunity in this country, number 1. Number 2, the economy has a serious positioning of where we can lift off from. We have the good people, we have good climate, we have good agriculture possibilities, the manifestos are there, the visions are there. Let's go and say, let's work on them. Also, be humble enough to ask, where are the blind spots? Is there anything that we don't see as politicians that the public sees or the civil society sees? And I think harmonizing people together, creating the jobs, the manifestos were all excellent. Let's go and act on them. Our biggest problem in Kenya has been a lot of problems. We've got a lot of issues out there. The Big Four was there. We have the Vision 2030. We have the manifestos. The key issue now is to act upon them, make them happen. And that's where we don't want to go back to excuses where, oh, we couldn't do this because of this or that. Let's go and get it done. And again, iterate it. We're not saying that the manifesto is like a full, detailed document. It's a vision of where we can go. From there, let's work together as Kenyans and say, let's harness it. I think Kenya is positioned very well in Africa, as in ACFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area. In the whole of AGOA, we've got a market access to America. We're now looking at the whole of Asia, where we can export to. I think our produce can be sent out. Logistics needs to be looked at. The currency needs to be looked at. Interest rates need to be looked at. We've had good management till now, but we can leapfrog. Our youth, I can tell you one thing. In terms of digitization, we probably have some of the best of youth. Can we give them far more oxygen? Can we give our startups a situation whereby they get to a point where they're not taxed until they come to, say, 30 million shillings of turnover, and then you'd start taxing them, so that you give them a head start to kick off and get some oxygen. I think this is important to really make this plant the seedlings, make them into a tree, and then let them blossom and let the fruits come from there. So I just think that the whole aspect of what has been designed, what has been goaled together, whoever comes in, really unite the country. Let's make progress, because we don't have a plan B. We don't have another country. We're all Kenyans. And I think we don't want to expect foreigners to come and develop it for us, or developmental aid, or IMF or World Bank. We've got to say, let's get on with it. At the same time, become compliant, right? Compliant on KRA. I think KRA has done a good job. 2 trillion this time they collected. So they've collected well. Our biggest situation we need to change is the wastage in government. The wastage in our spending. Well, the waste means anything that is siphoned off, stolen, or wasted. I think let's look at that seriously, and from that, learn how to do better. So I think we've got a fantastic positioning. We have new leadership. We've got whoever at the county levels. We've got new people at ward levels, at MP levels. Come on, let's get on with work. So I think the positioning of Kenya, like Florah said, 10% growth rate is seriously possible, but we've got to make sure we work hard. It's not going to be easy. It's not a cakewalk that it'll just get done by saying this. We've got to work together and then really bring out the egos and say, fine, let's crack all the egos. Whatever has been done is done. And I think one thing we should do even the next few days is forgive and forget the past. And look at where are we going together as one country, one nation, one people.
Very good. Florah, I mean, as the business leaders, as the captains of the industry, of the business industry, how do you plan to rally Kenyans to go back to work, to put the politics behind us now, and now embrace the big picture of building this country that we love dearly, and ensure that, to Ajibike, and we continue with the business of building this country?
I think Kenyans need to realize that our civic duty has been done. We chose, we elected, we went on that day, and our hands are done. This is what democracy is about. This is the leader I want. I hope you chose a leader based on value, not based on what he can do for me, but based on I believe in this person, and I believe this person can get us to the next stage. From there, there's really not much we can do. O'Brien, today if you stay at home, like I was asking earlier, that's not going to put food on your table. Tomorrow, that's not going to put food on their table. So I'm telling people, go back to work. The country is still running. Security is still in place. We still have a president. IEBC is still doing their work. So if we just give everybody the space to do their work properly, and there's nothing well done there's nothing done that is not painful. This is a painful process, we agree. But Kenyans need to go back to work and know that there will be a loser, there will be a winner. They have committed to a peace pledge. We believe strongly, from the positions we sit in, that there will be peace. And we also do know that the people who feel aggrieved, there is a process to deal with that. So really, Kenyans should not fear. Kenyans really need to go back to work and ensure we run the economy. Just to add on to what you were asking, Vimal, what should we do going forward? I think one big area is the SME. It forms 85% of businesses in Kenya. These people, remember, don't have a lot of, reserves. So once an SME is not working, the economy is not going to move forward. So it hurts them, it hurts everybody else. It hurts the taxman who wants to come and collect. So it is important that, A, they go back to work, but secondly, when we get a new government, it is important that they continue to nurture. You've noticed lately there's been a lot of attention given to the SME. Let's look at their policies, let's look at their environment, let's look at their access to everything. What an SME needs is access to finance, access to markets, access to knowledge, access to information. Let's continue to give them that. And for me, to them, is to also ask them to join associations, read up, go get fed, because the information is there. There's a lot of willingness. We have seen a lot of the manifestos that we sat down and actually deliberated together. We have seen both manifestos are very interested in the youth, very interested in the SME. So there's a great opportunity for people to grow their businesses and in the same token, grow the economy. So go back to work and let's do that.
Very well. Vimal, Shah, what would be a message to the person who is going to come as number 2 in this contest? Because there must be number 1, there must be number 2, there must be number 3, there must be number 4.
I agree. I think the fact of the matter is that there will be only one number 1. There will be only one number 2, and there will only be one number 3, and there will be only one number 4. The leader, whoever leads, whoever comes number 1, whoever it is, will be announced. But their responsibility, wajibu, in terms of what they need to be and they need to do, is to be magnanimous, number 1. Number 2 is to say, we ran a race, we won, but we're now, or whoever it is now the president of this country. And it's the whole country. Unite the country, let's get on with work and be reconciliatory and forgiving, right? We ran a race, it's fine. The number 2, your question was, who's number 2? Whoever's number 2, the number 2 is to say, I ran a race, I competed. It's like the Olympics. You go in for getting a gold and you don't get a gold, you get a silver, you get a bronze, or you don't get anything. I think the important point is for number 2, who gets a silver medal, in my opinion, is not like it's lost. I think it's important to say, I went in there and we did a good job, right? And again, if you see all the other results, we're already at, if I would say 50-50, we're 50% this way and 50% that way already. So we could say in one way, we've got a divided country. But however, the number 2's position is to say, let's show the leadership to say, I accept it and I will then try and work with the leader. I think that's going to be important, number 1. Number 2, also, it's to say to all my supporters, all the people who supported me, thank you very much, but really stay calm, because to claim that I was stolen or to claim that this happened or whatever, we've had a process that's been checked out thoroughly. If they do see number 2, if the number 2 sees, and they've got lawyers all around, if they see problems or whatever issues they see, there is absolute due process available, right? The due process is to take it, get the evidence, go to court, and it could be a court fight. It could be a legal fight. But that's far better than to go up and arouse people to say, we were stolen or this was lost. I think they probably have that possibility. I don't think we need to tell them about this. But the point is, this is what we expect as a public. The key issue is us sitting out there and sitting in front of our TVs, stressing ourselves and saying there's too much stress. Some people call me and says, there's too much stress, there's tension because there's nobody on the streets. There's nobody walking around, nobody going to work. And we're telling people here, let's get on with our lives, let's get on with what's going to happen, and seriously, we are not going to harm anybody else. I have a question that I asked some people yesterday, is who is going to go out and kill another person? Who's going to do something to the other person? Because we have moved away, Kenya has moved away proudly from the tribal situation where, you know, parties were certain tribes. It's no more the case, right? We're now intertribal. So now it's a matter of saying whoever wins. And I think this is very important. We've all seen ups and downs in the counting. We've seen, you know, sometimes it's this color or the other color. But after these elections, the colors fall off. In fact, it becomes one Kenya. It's the green, red, black and white in our national flag. And I think, frankly, the national anthem is something that's important. The one in Swahili, we should sing all the 3 stanzas and say, fine, talk about it. Because it's the biggest and the best prayer that we have as Kenya. We don't have a plan B. So I think the issue for number 2, whoever it is to say, accept, concede, read a speech and say, fine, we work together. If not, and if you think you've got a problem, go to court, but really, as people, get on with your lives. So I think that's the call, the rallying call that whoever's number 2 should make to the country so that we actually say, let's get on with it. Like you said, O'Brien, we've got to do a lot more. We've got to get to work. And like Florah says, we've got to also put food on our table, so let's start working. And I think creating more jobs, looking at more opportunities and say, fine, what does this open for us? Number 3, what have we learned? Whoever comes number 2, what have we learned in this? And what can we do better? But the biggest inspiration to me, frankly, is the 16,000 people who went out and said, I can aspire, I can go in there, and I did try it. Remember, 14,000 people are saying, I didn't make it. They have learned, will learn next time what to do. I think our 24-year-old Toto, right?
Yes.
In
Bomet County.
In Bomet County. She won the women's representative. And I think that's something that we can be proud of. The issue that was there was a lot of money is required to go and compete in the elections. She didn't have any money. Toto didn't have any money. I think the village people got together, gave her cars or whatever it is, and really now she's come up and she's won, right? Now, aren't we proud of that? I think she was up against people who probably had much more money than them.
Absolutely.
The question about money is not important anymore. So for the youth, for all the people there, if you're there now, and if you're aspiring for 2027, the work starts now, not the last few months of 2027. The work starts now. Look at your customers. Your customers are your constituencies or in your ward or whatever you're aspiring to. And I think that's important to say, let's get on with helping more people and doing more. Exemplify your leadership, make it happen. But for God's sake, let's make sure Kenya is Tahiti Heshima. I think that's important. We need that respect. And really, let's all stand out as Kenyans to say to all the world out there that Kenya is something of a peace nation. I think in Africa, we can come up number 1.
Absolutely. And there is absolutely no reason why we cannot become a role model, you know, of how to conduct ourselves in a peaceful manner during election times. And this takes me to the other question. I mean, Florah, during the campaigning period, the issues of business, the issues of SMEs, the issues of the economy, you know, came strongly, you know, and all the people that were campaigning, those issues were at the forefront of their conversations. So how do we hold them to account to ensure that they deliver on what they promised?
Very good question, O'Brien. And I think we all need to develop a scorecard at whatever level, so that if I'm in a county, I will do a scorecard for my NCA, I'll do my scorecard for, you know, and at the various levels. And perhaps get into a regular meeting. How we do it in KEPSA is we have quarterly meetings with the various levels where we have an action matrix, and we say these are the challenges we are having, this is what you promised us, and this is what we want to see. And that and my appeal is for both of us to look at this scorecard as we're making people better. You've heard how Toto has come in. Maybe maybe she'll be able to, well, she'll be able to deliver, and she'll be able to say, listen, I'm not here just talking. This is what I've done for you. In 2027, re-elect me again. So the important thing is we keep everybody based on their scorecard, and I think that could be a little bit of a failing for us as Kenyans. we don't hold our leaders accountable. And it is it is now time for us to hold them accountable, and not necessarily on Twitter. Let's get formal arrangements where we can do that, whether it's county level or the other one. I just want to add something to the question you asked, Vimal. What would you appeal to number 2? There's also a huge vacancy for a strong head of opposition. So that is where they would fit in, and maybe let's have a strong head of opposition like we see in other countries, and we'll be able to get the best out of both, because they say iron sharpens iron.
Very good. Because we have to wind up, and go back to Broadcasting House. Vimal Shah, as a peace campaign, as a business leader in this country, as a thought leader, there are definitely millions of Kenyans, who watch and who look up to you, for inspiration. And right now they are watching you on this platform. That being your camera, I want you to look at them and give them a message of hope and a message of reassurance.
Thank you very much, O'Brien, and thank you for this opportunity to talk to people. I have one very strong message. I think Kenya now, we all need to look at it as one family. One family. If something happens in a family, and let's say I have 5, 10 people or 20 people in a family, how do we take care of them? Do we let them go? Do we take care of them? And do we have empathy? Do we have sympathy? Do we have all those? Do we have some who go astray? Do we have some who go this way? And if we did treat everybody as a family, I think we'd do far better. And that's important. The tribe issue is gone. We don't have the issue around tribe anymore. And I think that's something that we need to work on every single day. And deliberately working on it to say it's not going to be by tribe. It's going to be by people, and really we make things happen. I think if we look at it from a family, mimi ni Mkenya Daima, nitatenda wajibu wangu. Je, wajibu wangu ni nini? I think it's important. First of all, kudumisha amani, but at the same time, to take care of my brother and sister, whichever place they come from, wherever they come from. And the minute we do that, I think we will stand in the world in a big way, number one. Number two, lastly, I want a message to say, come what may, whoever wins, it doesn't matter, because all is not lost. There is a life beyond elections, and every 5 years we'll have the same elections. We're not going to go out and pitching against these guys or those guys. I'm told that a lot of people are going to be ready. It's not us who are going to be ready. It's some people who are being aroused by others to say, hey, you know what, go and create a fujo here, do that. I want to respect one thing. I've spoken to many youth. I think yesterday I addressed a lot of them online, 200 youth, and saying, look, it is your responsibility, it's our responsibility. I'm very proud of our youth, I can tell you one thing. All our university student leaders, all of them all over Kenya, actually said we will be champions of Mkenya Daima. We will hold the peace torch there and say, fine, we won't let us be used, and they were not used. And I think this is what is a call, a rallying call to every Kenyan out there. Let's make sure we enhance the peace, we become peace champions, and let's get on with work. Thank you.
Very good. Florah.
A message? I think for me it's about, let's go back to work. We have a system, like I say, we have laws, we have a process. It's painful, perhaps longer than it's ever been, but this is what maturity is all about. Tries your patience, but at the end of it, you get a good result. So let us trust what has come out. For those that are aggrieved, there are processes to do that. For those who have conceded, just to thank them. I think it is really it's big. It's big for you to stand up, down and say, listen, well done, and better luck next time. And actually, perhaps let's also see them working together, because both candidates have had good ideas, and nobody owns ideas. So it's good to put them together and be able to continue to work. So let us continue building the economy, let the system run, and trust the outcome.
Very good.
And not for just now, it's also for the future generations.
For the future
Let's
generations.
document everything, and let us improve what needs to be improved.
Very good. Well, thank you very much indeed.
I want to say one more thing.
You want to say something? Yes.
I think an important point to note is to say a big thank you. A big thank you to our entire National Police Service. I think a big thank you to all the security forces across the country. They've done a fantastic job of keeping the police, but it's not a police force anymore, and I think that's important to learn from them. It's a police service, and really they've done a good job of making sure they're calm, polite, and really done a good job. So again, to all those people who are agencies, fantastic job done. I think overall, come what may, let's make sure we exemplify and make it better. Thank you.
I think let's thank IEBC as well while we are at it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think IEBC has also done a good
Yes.
job. The returning officers, the people who volunteered, the international community, the business people who are here, you, O'Brien, who has been here for 2 weeks setting up right here. I think everybody has put a lot of hands on deck, and this is what you call maturity.
Very good. I mean,
Absolutely
it
spot on.
must be said. Look, every time I walk around this place and I see police officers, you know, bracing the evening chill, because this place can get
It is
very,
cold.
very,
We
very
were here
cold.
on Friday. It is cold.
You do not want to say that that is motivated by money.
Yeah.
But you see people who are ready to serve
Yeah.
and serving diligently.
Yeah.
You go inside the National Tallying Center, you see IBC officials, you know, who have been here since this process started. You even wonder, do they ever go home?
Yeah.
Because you leave them here, in the morning you find them here.
Yeah.
You know, journalists as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we are always out here in the cold, you know, trying to get the numbers, trying to get the information right. So this goes all to all Kenyans, you know, who have been very consistent
Yeah.
and very faithful to this process, and of course very peaceful in ensuring that as a country we move forward, because as Vimal was saying, there is no Kenya A or Kenya B. We only will have one Kenya. Shall we end it at this point?
Thank you.
We may, and thank you very much.
Very well.
Nitatenda wajibu wangu.
Asante.
Mimi ni Mkenya daima.
Asante sana.
Asante sana. Thank you.
And
Very
let's
good.
be responsible going forward.
Asante sana.
All right.
Well, Vimal Shah is the chairperson of Mkenya Daima, and Florah Mutahi is also a member of the steering committee of Mkenya Daima, and also the chairperson of Kenya Private Sector Alliance, joining us here at the Bomas of Kenya to give us their words of wisdoms and, of course, reassuring the country that we are on the right track. The way we have, you know, conducted this election, we are on the right track, and now what lies ahead of us is constructing ourselves or rebuilding our economy and rebuilding this country. My name is O'Brien Kimani. We are still here, continue to give you more analysis, and of course, we'll continue to invite more thought leaders as we come to the end of this exercise. Now we're taking you back to Broadcasting House. Stay right here.